This is Game Set Match Kentucky, episode 37, recorded on Sunday, May 19th, 2024, entitled Membership Freedom! Hey everybody, it's time for another episode and another season of Game Set Match Kentucky, where we talk about all things related to the Central Kentucky Tennis Series and probably a whole lot more that you never asked for. We're recording on Sunday, May 19th. Welcome to the 7th season of this podcast. I'm Chris Godby, the chairman and one of the founders of the CKTS, where the lines are good and sandbagging is for golf. I am still here in Studio C. I'll talk about studios in just a minute. This is my work office in Russell Springs, Kentucky. Chad Young is with me in Studio B in Scottsville on a day off between a lot that you have going on. You haven't had much going on lately, have you?
It's a day of rest between all the region tournaments we've had over the last couple of weeks.
Well, speaking of that, I wanted to congratulate your girls team on winning the team championship last week. And congratulations also to your boys team for finishing runner-up in Region 4. So along the same lines, I want to say congratulations to one of our tournament directors, Tim Dethridge. His girls team was runner-up to yours, and his boys team was champions to your runner-up. So congratulations to them too.
Thank you. It's a new format for determining the team champions, and so it was an interesting atmosphere. Happened last Wednesday, and Greenwood is the perfect place to host it because they've got 10 courts.
Yep.
So we can do 2 simultaneous matches. So it was our boys on one end, our girls on the other, and what they did in the team tournament was they played the clinched like they do in college. So once a match was clinched, you just pull the kids off the court.
Pull them. Yep.
And so the boys match ended, and 4 of the 5 girls matches were over. And so everybody migrated to court 1 for a match that was decided by a super tiebreaker, and we were fortunate to come out on top and win the girls' title.
So how do you feel about the pulling them off for when it's clinched like that, so letting the kids play out and finish their match? What do you think? I'm indifferent, if not slightly in favor of it. I know some of my kids aren't happy when I tell them the match is over, you just go ahead and pull it. There's a lot of reasons for it. I can understand letting the kids play it out, but it really is kind of silly. You got a lot of tennis to be played. It wasn't that big of an issue for the finals, but when we had the semifinals, we had another match afterward. In the earlier rounds, some teams were playing back to back. It makes a lot of sense just to kind of move things along. And right now you're in the midst of the individual regional tournaments, for lack of a better name. Is that what they're calling it, the individual draws, where there's a singles draw and a doubles draw and everybody's mixed the traditional format of it? That's
the other word I would use, is traditional. Okay. The traditional region tournament that everyone is accustomed to. We're right in the middle of that. We're around behind where we normally would be. We had a lot of rain Friday, so we moved indoors, and because of the number of matches that would be played at 2 sites being played at 1 site with 6 courts, we only played 1 round on Friday. We really can't do more than 1 round on Saturday because of the graduation conflicts. And so we got that in yesterday outdoors, and then we'll play the quarterfinals and semifinals tomorrow, and then the championship will be on Tuesday.
Well, good luck to your entries and the entries of all of those in our listening area in the various regions. I know there's Region 4, of course, and then Region 12. And just want to wish good luck to the kids that play in CKTS. I know there's a lot of them at the various schools, and I wish they could all win. But
there's a Russell County girl who's in the quarterfinals.
And then a doubles team, too.
Yeah, and it's
in the
right.
quarterfinals.
The girls doubles team, Terry and Troutman, I think is their name.
That's
and,
correct.
So Glasgow's got some kids in it. South Warren and Greenwood obviously have some kids in it. Warren East, Logan County's got some kids still alive. Some Bowling Green High kids in there. So, yeah, I mean, the CKTS is most of the CKTS is the fourth region, but you've got E-Town. They're in the fifth.
Yeah, I didn't want to misspeak on that number. I thought it was fifth, but I wasn't sure. Okay.
And then I'm not sure about Taylor County, Campbellsville. I
I
think
would guess they're in the same region with them.
In the fifth, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, in Adair.
Yep.
I'm not positive, but that's my guess.
And Somerset is, I think,
that's 12th.
12th, yeah.
12th.
So well, the CKTS does spread a little bit further than the fourth region, but obviously with Glasgow and Bowling Green and Russell Springs, that's a big chunk of the CKTS.
And there's going to be a big chunk of CKTS at the state tournaments too, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, and you're pulling double duty as a coach. Well, triple duty. You're coaching two teams. And you're running the regional tournament, correct? Are you the director?
I am. Yeah. We're the host school this year. It's basically a three school rotation. But Bowling Green's kind of been out of it the last couple of years because they haven't had courts. So yeah, it's basically been Greenwood and South Warren trading it off. But Bowling Green will have it next year. So it's a little bit more, especially with the scheduling that we've had to do because of the rain. But when you've run tournaments like we run every summer, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah,
it's not that bad. Well,
I hope you're getting enough rest to get by with on the heels of tennis regular season for high school. Now in the midst of the tournament. You've got some other things coming up, other USTA events coming up we're going to talk about. We got CKTS stuff we're going to talk about. So stay healthy, man. Stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get through the Sydney Cassady, that'll be – after that, I'm going to have to take a deep breath because there's a lot going on over the next, I guess, 3-4 weeks between the state tournaments.
You're probably not getting to play any tennis yourself.
No, and that's the thing that stinks is
you have to watch it all the time.
I've got
organize it.
The 40 and over is in the middle of this run, and I've got to find a way to make sure I'm in playing shape because when you get run down like this, I just send me to a drive-through, and that's not healthy.
Well. You look well, from what I can tell, and you've gotten some sun, and I don't think I've seen you since in person since January at Kentucky Tennis Weekend. Is that right? Have we seen each other since? We talk or text almost every week, but I don't think I've seen you since then.
Yeah, you've come to the facility a couple times, but
we've missed Saturdays, each other though.
But I haven't been there, so I think this is probably the first time we've even seen each other over video.
Well, let's talk about Atlanta and Louisville for just a minute. So in mid-January, we went to Atlanta to accept the Mark Kaplan Media Excellence Award for this podcast, and that was a whirlwind, 24 hours, lots of fun, great event. Your viewers are seeing some pictures of that now. And then the very next weekend, we drive up to Louisville for Kentucky Tennis Weekend. Another outstanding event. We pick up another award there, but I think the highlight of it, two highlights for me, is that we did a podcast from there, audio only. So that was episode 36, Kentucky Tennis Weekend. It was called. If you haven't got to check that out, go to the archives and find our previous episode. It's audio only. So we interviewed people from different CTAs. That was really time just flew by like that. I mean, it was fun to talk to these other people from other CTAs and have them share with us exciting things that they're doing. So definitely, listeners, check that out if you haven't listened to that one yet. And then we go straight from there to emceeing the awards ceremony. And I got to tell you, I still think back on that, how much of a blast that was. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. And, the thing that I kind of felt bad, because basically as soon as that was over, high school tennis season was starting up. And, I felt like the 2 weekends with all the social media posts and everything, we certainly had an opportunity to grow our audience. And thankfully, you put together a podcast that was probably published in February from that weekend. But it's just been hard for us to get back together and create, a new podcast to talk about the new season. But I'm glad we're finally able to do it. But no, hosting, emceeing was a blast. Hope they'll.
Yes, it was.
Don't know. We'll have to make sure Lachlan McLean has some other obligations somewhere next year, so maybe they'll invite us back.
We'll cut his tires.
That's right. That's right.
No. Well, anyway,
send him into the median on Shelbyville Road or something.
Now you're getting dangerous. So. Well, speaking of recording, so this is the first chance we've had to record an episode since that weekend in January. That was published a couple weeks later. I'm in the midst of building a new Studio A at home, and so I put a picture up here of its current status. It's a very slow-moving project, as any construction is. That's just normal. It takes twice as long as you think it's going to take, and probably costs about twice as much money as you think it's going to cost. But I'm hoping to build us a nice little studio, and you'll have to come join me and do a show there when it's ready. Maybe sometime soon, but I'm still probably weeks and weeks away from being able to set up in there. So this work office will work fine for now. So Studio C.
And how's the tennis court next to Studio A? Is it all in good shape still?
Tennis court is up and running. The sprinkler system is not reconnected yet, but the court is ready for French Open season. And so it's gray clay instead of red clay, but we're ready to go. We're already using it. So
awesome.
It's been fun. Well, we've got a lot to talk about today, and we've already talked about a lot, I feel like, but we don't have a lot of time, so let's serve it up. On today's episode of Game Set Match Kentucky, there's a ton of announcements to make. That's mainly what we're going to be doing is making announcements. We do have one major story we're going to get to. It's a major change for the CKTS. But first, if Chad would tell us a little bit about Vision Cabinet Source, our sponsor.
Vision Cabinet Source is a kitchen and bath cabinet supplier that ships all over the United States and has done so for over a decade. Whether you're building a new home or renovating a room in your home, Vision Cabinet Source can provide you with classic cabinet styles that are well built and affordable. You'll also find that they go above and beyond to provide service that exceeds expectations, from answering your initial questions to ensuring that you're happy with the final delivered product. Every Vision cabinet is built upon their promise to deliver well-constructed cabinets made from solid hardwoods, classic, versatile designs that complement your style, affordable options that fit your budget, on-time delivery with shipment within 24 hours, and accessible personal service you can count on. They have many different painted and stained lines of cabinets that are stocked at their warehouse in Campbellsville. Making these beautiful cabinets, they have a 17-step finishing process that assures top quality craftsmanship. Go online and look at their styles and designs for yourself, and you'll agree that they do great work at an affordable price. Check them out on their website at visioncabinet.com, or you can call them at 270-465-3222. Tell them you heard about Vision Cabinet Source right here on Game Set Match Kentucky.
Well, if you've been on the CKTS website lately, you've probably thought, why haven't they updated this site yet? And then a few weeks ago, they're like, oh, they finally updated the website. And then you probably went to go do your single membership for the season and get that situated. And then you were like, I don't see it. How do I do my membership? I see that I can do a tour pass. Where's my membership? So you've had a difficult time trying to get that membership because it's gone. In a radical move by the CKTS Board of Directors this winter, the organization has done away with single memberships. This means that all players pay the same low price for entry fees, and everyone gets to be in the point standings. For the first time in our 22-year history, this move was made to simplify registration, to streamline the pricing for entry fees, and include all participants in the point standings. It's important to note that you can still purchase a tour pass, which did have a small price increase for the first time in many years, like maybe 12 years that we've done a tour pass. Chad, we've been talking about doing this for a couple years. How are you feeling about this decision to cut out the single memberships?
Well, I mean, we put a lot of thought into it and just kind of looked at how things had developed over the last couple of years with the tour. And we want people to be excited about the points race. And so, you know, we want people to play as many tournaments as possible. And so this is a way that everybody can be a part of the tour. They already were a part of the tour. And so now we're just kind of making it easier, but understanding the financial impact that the membership costs had on the CKTS. You know, I'm not going to get too deep into the weeds, but you know, the tournaments are run independently, but they're part of a tour, and the tour, you know, needs some funding to be able to have the website that we have, and the registration that we have, and the podcasts that we have, and so, you know, we're looking at the financial part of it, but also looking at the player experience, and I hope people will embrace this new system that we have.
You know, even after over 2 decades of this organization, there were still like people that didn't understand membership, and sometimes didn't join because they didn't really understand what it meant or what they were doing, and then they would ask questions about why they weren't appearing in the point standings, and that on top of it was time for a price increase on entry fees anyway. It had been a number of years since we had done that, and so what we did instead was kept one entry fee price for everybody, which was last year's non-member entry fee price. Try saying that a bunch of times. $20 for singles, $15 per person for doubles. So we just kept that as the flat price, and essentially everybody's a member and nobody's a member, but there is still the tour pass. So for $125, you can pay once, and you can play in all 8 tournaments. You can play in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 tournaments. It will pay for itself at around 4 to 5 tournaments if you play 2 events in each tournament. So it's still a really good deal, and it's a way to simplify things further for yourself if you want to go that route. So you can do that on the website, cktstour.com. But, you know, we talked about it and decided to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, and as people know, our tournaments, and we take pride in this, are some of the cheapest around.
Yes.
We want them to be affordable. They're community tennis tournaments, and so, you know, we were mindful of price increases, and so I think we're still very, very affordable for, you know, single members or entire families that sometimes play in our events. And like I said, I mean, we want everybody to be a part of it. And some people are just so used to kind of being upsold in the retail world sometimes that you're like, you know, here's a membership that gets you a t-shirt and saves you on, you know, every entry for every tournament. They're like, nah, I don't want that. You know, even though it was it's a bargain, but people just kind of didn't want it.
Well, people today are kind of non-committal, you know, and like, I probably will play 2 tournaments. That's how it paid for itself, was playing 2 tournaments usually for most people. And some people are like, well, I think I'm going to probably play 2, but I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it next week, at the next tournament. So this just simplifies all that process. Everybody's going to pay the same thing unless you have a tour pass. And then also the point standings are going to be much easier to do because we don't have to filter out the non-members from the point standings and avoid that confusion too. So everybody's in the point standings and everybody pays the same price, and it's a low price, as you said. So let's rock and roll. Yep. 2024. Let's do it. And just one more thing, though, about memberships. We haven't had the family membership in a few years now. We got rid of that. That was kind of a headache on the back end of the website. And so we did away with the family membership already anyway. So now we're just membership free, as I said. So anyway, before we move ahead, let me tell you about Family Medical Centers. Family Medical Centers is a community health center with more than 200 locations throughout South Central and a portion of North Central Kentucky in 31 counties. They've been providing health care to Kentuckians for over 17 years. They provide primary care services and also offer pediatrics, OBGYN, oral health services, school-based health centers, behavioral health services, substance use disorder treatment, a pediatric wellness program, a workplace wellness program, a discount pharmacy program, outreach services, local scholarship opportunities, and more. Family Medical Centers has been recognized as a national quality leader by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Check them out on their website at cumberlandfamilymedical.com or on Facebook at facebook.com/Family Medical Centers. They're also on Instagram and Twitter at Cumberland FMC. Well, let's look at what's coming up for the CKTS. So our first tournament is the Miller Park Tennis Classic. It's coming right up on June 1st and 2nd. That'll be here before you know it, Chad. In Campbellsville, Kentucky. Entries will open tomorrow as we record this, Monday, May 20th. Now, it might be later in the day on Monday, May 20th, before the entries actually open. There's a little bit of a glitch with the entry form that I am trying to work out. And it has to do with taking away the memberships. That's kind of messed up the form just a little bit. So working on that bug, and I should have that ready tomorrow. So the deadline to enter the Miller Park Tennis Classic is Tuesday, May 28th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, let me stress, that is a 9-day entry window. We almost always have a 9-day entry window for CKTS tournaments. So please get in there early. Don't put it off, or you might miss the deadline and not get in the tournament. The next tournament we'll have, I'm sure we're going to talk much more about this on the next episode, Chad. If I can get you back in studio, get you back in the chair, to do another one, we're going to talk about the second CKTS tournament, which is called the Sydney Cassady Memorial. That's 2 weeks later on June 15th and 16th in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Entries for that will open on Monday, June 3rd, the day after the completion of the Miller Park tournament. The deadline for the Sydney Cassady Memorial will be Tuesday, June 11th at 6 p.m. Central Time. Guess what, Chad? That's another 9-day window to register. And I should stop and say this. We still have priority entry for Tour Pass members. So that's another advantage if you do have a Tour Pass and an event becomes crowded. You know, like let's say you play boys 16 and under singles and it's gotten filled up. Well, the Tour Pass players are going to have priority entry in that. So keep that in mind. Maybe they won't fill up, maybe they will, but sometimes they do. Am I right?
Yeah, but that also simplifies that process because there was 3 tiers. It was Tour Pass got first priority, members got second priority, and then it was based on when you registered. So it simplifies it. Tour passes are going to get in, and then it's first come, first served.
I love stuff being simplified. I really do.
Me too.
The older I get, the more I like that too. So
that's right.
Well, you can visit cktstour.com to register for these events when their registration window opens. You can also see our complete tournament schedule. It's going to be action-packed and wall-to-wall from June through September, and we are excited. Chad, why don't you share some announcements with us for SOKY Tennis?
Well, there's a couple of things. As I mentioned earlier, we're hosting the 55-plus adult state tournament. That will be, unfortunately, the same weekend as the Miller Park Classic. If you're in the Bowling Green area or in the surrounding counties and you're interested in volunteering, we can certainly use volunteers if you're not playing in the first CKTS event of the year. May, of course, is National Tennis Month, and USTA National and USTA at the state level have been great in promoting the different events across the state. We had a yoga Lattes event earlier this month, and we actually have an evening cardio tennis class coming up at the Warren County Indoor Tennis and Sports Facility. That is next Tuesday, the 28th. It'll be at 6 o'clock, and you can go to Serve Tennis or go to SOKYtennis.net to register for that. We have a standing cardio tennis Wednesday mornings at 6 a.m., but we've tinkered with the idea of offering an evening cardio tennis class. So with May being National Tennis Month, this is a free class but there is limitations on space, but this is a free class coming up on Tuesday, the 28th. And I'll go ahead and put this kind of out there. We're still pulling together the details for that. Chris has got his clay court there in Russell Springs. We are working with Bowling Green Parks and Recreation to get a temporary grass court built or modified, however you want to say it, installed, I guess that's the word I'll use, installed for the 2 weeks of the Wimbledon Championships. And we're going to have an event on June 29th at Covington Woods, which is kind of in the more middle of Bowling Green. And so we don't know a whole lot of details about that, but there's going to be some food and some games and some drills and some free play. And then that court's going to be available for the public to play on for the 2 weeks that Wimbledon takes place until it gets chewed up and is just dirt.
Yeah.
But hopefully, if we can do another podcast in a couple of weeks, I'll have more of the details. But I'm excited about that. I've played on grass once before when I went to England, and so we just want to kind of do something kind of special to get the community together and give people that experience.
Well, that'll be great. I never got to play on grass. I've seen grass courts. I've been to Wimbledon, but never got to try to hit a ball on grass. That would be really cool as long as the court will last. Sure,
That's
like
right.
you said.
That's the real test.
Well, we're looking forward to hearing more about that, and you can learn more about SOKY Tennis at SOKYtennis.net or visit their Facebook page at facebook.com/SOKYtennis. Let's talk a little bit about the Lake Cumberland Tennis Association. Coming up this coming weekend, on Saturday, May 25th, they're having a French Open themed doubles tournament. Let me see if I can get this right. Let's see if my high school French will help me sound this out right. Now, my mom's a French Canadian. She'll be listening, and she'll correct me later. It's l'amour est dans l'air. L'amour est dans l'air.
Sounds
Love
pretty good
is
to
in
me.
the air. Love is in the air. L'amour est dans l'air. So, again, that's this Saturday, May 25th at Somerset, Kentucky. Registration ends on Tuesday. So I'll have this podcast out in time, hopefully, so people don't miss that deadline. But they're going to get a good turnout for that, I believe. They are going to, it's $20 per person for a registration fee. And French-themed food will be available, it says. So perhaps some baguettes, escargot, jambon et fromage, peut-être? I don't know. You got any French foods that you like?
foie gras. Isn't that the
foie gras liver? Yes,
yeah.
foie gras. Yes, sure, that'll be great. Not for me, but for if that's your thing, I'm gonna text Chris Adkison in a minute, and I'm gonna say, "Are you guys gonna have
some
foie
foie
gras
gras? That's
at
right.
the L'Amour et dans l'air?"
Say Chad wants to eat foie gras on the changeover.
Okay. Can you imagine being a hot day, just 85 degrees out there, and you take a break and go take a big bite of foie gras on a baguette? Nasty.
How about French fries?
Ooh, hey, yeah,
French
I can eat
fries,
those.
yeah.
I can put those away. So then burn it off with some cardio tennis. No,
right.
I wouldn't make it through 3 minutes of cardio tennis. I'm just telling you right now. I got winded this morning putting on my shoes. So other things Lake Cumberland Tennis Association is doing, they're holding junior clinics. They'll start on June 6th and go through the 27th on Thursdays. June 6th through 27th on Thursday evenings at Pulaski County High School, the same site as the L'Amour et dans l'air tournament in Somerset, Kentucky. Be for ages 6 through 8 and also for 9 through 12 at $50 per child. LCTA also has drop shots. That's adult social tennis on Tuesdays. I think it was supposed to start last week, and they got rained out on their first Tuesday, so maybe this Tuesday is the first night. But that'll run through July 2nd from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time at Somerset High School. So, Chad, are you familiar with drop shots?
Yes, I am.
Have you been a part of drop shots?
Never done it, but I've always.
Okay. Do they have some in Bowling Green? Do they have drop shots over there somewhere?
I don't believe we have ever embraced that program. No.
Well, the drop shot's a lot of fun. It's social. You just show up, and whoever's running it kind of pairs you up in some doubles matches, and then you rotate after a few games, and you pair off against another group, and it's just very sociable and fun. You get to meet some new people, and then they invite everybody to go out together afterwards for Mexican food or drinks, appetizers, whatever. So Drop Shots is a fun social event. So check that out in your area or in Somerset at Drop Shots. For more information,
can I backtrack real quick, unless you want to? Because I just do need to mention. I do need to mention that there are a number of summer camps available, mainly for youth. That I should have mentioned earlier, and just go to SOKYtennis.net and go to the youth tennis, because Bowling Green Parks has got one. Coach Lancaster has one. Nicole Martin has one. I've got one in July. There's JTT going on in June and July. So if you have kids who are interested in playing in camps, in addition to playing CKTS tournaments, go to the youth tennis page at SOKYtennis.net for all that information.
Interestingly enough, just a few hours ago, Chad, I was telling some parents about camps that they can find at SOKYtennis.net, and I knew you were doing one of them. I was thinking yours is for younger kids. Is that right?
Yeah, ours is like entering 3rd through 7th grade.
Okay.
But there are different camps for different levels. Some are more beginners, some are advanced. So you can just find the one that fits your schedule, and then ask questions about what kind of level they're looking at. Mine is a little bit more of a beginner, really more than anything. It's open to kids from any school, but I'm really just trying to get kids at that elementary school level aware of our tennis program and our courts and our coaches and so on and so forth.
Will you be serving foie gras?
No, there will not be any foie gras served at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. Yeah.
Oh, nasty. Well, let's look at some announcements courtesy of USTA Kentucky. As Chad mentioned, the adult 55 and over championships will be in Bowling Green on May 31st through June 2nd. The adult 40 and over championships will be in Louisville June 7th through the 9th, and the adult 18 and over championships will be in Lexington on June 21st through the 23rd. And they have sent out a call for volunteers. Volunteers are needed to help put on each of those events, and you can go to USTA Kentucky's website if you want to make a connection on how to volunteer to help with those events. USTA Coaching Fundamentals Workshop will be held in Richmond on May 25th and 26th. This is a 2-day in-person training that focuses on all the skills needed to teach beginner to low intermediate level players of all ages. For more information on these and many other events happening with USTA Kentucky, visit KentuckyTennis.com or at USTA Kentucky on Facebook and Twitter. Go to that site for tournaments, grants, events, everything going on tennis in Kentucky. You can also email us your tennis event information for us to announce it here on the show. You can send it to info@gamesetmatchky.com. And I think it's time to serve out this episode of Game Set Match Kentucky. Thanks to everybody for watching or listening. You can subscribe with any major podcast app if you're an audio-only fan of the program. You can use Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon Podcast, Audible Podcast. I use an app, Chad, called Overcast to subscribe to podcasts. Even though I'm an Apple user, I like Overcast better than Apple's native podcast app. Do you use anything to listen to podcasts?
If it's podcasts, I usually go through Apple.
Okay.
If it's music, I go through Spotify.
In your podcast app or in the podcast app on your computer, we'd love for you to write us a short review and give us a 5-star rating. You can visit GameSetMatchKY.com to go back through all of our episodes, show notes. If there's any links, that I'll put them there as well. Please go to Facebook and give our Facebook page a like. You can find us at GameSetMatchKY or search for Game Set Match Kentucky, the podcast. And while you're there on Facebook, also don't forget to like at CKTS Tour to keep up with events of the CKTS. You can also follow us on X. I'm going to call it that now, Chad. I'm going to call it X going forward all the way. It looks like it's here
not
to
even
stay.
Formally Twitter, just going with X.
Well, you said it, not me, but follow us on X at Game Set Match KY and at CKTS Tour. Chad is on X at Chad Young Tennis, and I am on X at Chris Godby. We are also, Chad, on Instagram now. Instagram.
Oh, I didn't know that. No way.
Same channel. Well, I don't know if I've posted anything there. I'm going to post this broadcast there, but I don't know if I've posted anything else there yet or not. We just got those. Well, set them up a while ago. I haven't used them. So, I mean, why we got to have so many of these? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's do Facebook or let's do Twitter if you want to have more short form. Why do we have to have Instagram too? But yeah, I don't know. It's there. We're using it, so whatever. But we're also on Instagram at GameSetMatchKY and at CKTS Tour. I've tried to keep all of these usernames the same, Chad, so that, you know.
Yeah, because there's a Game Set Match show, and that's not what you want to follow. So
no.
Definitely Game Set Match KY.
I'm sure it's a quality program, but no. At Game Set Match KY.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
also have,
no. It looks like it might be pickleball. Ooh, yeah, it's pickleball related.
You just made me sicker than foie gras. Ooh. We made it 40 minutes without that word coming up. So I don't know. One day we'll all give up on health and activity, and we'll end up playing that too.
One day we'll decide we just can't play tennis anymore.
Yeah,
we'll pick up a paddle.
At least, as my wife says, at least they're getting out of the house and doing something.
That's right.
So at least there's that. You know,
just stay off our courts.
Yes, especially at Jamestown Park. Sorry. We also have a YouTube channel. That's finally been set up appropriately, and now that username is slightly different because of the way YouTube does their URLs. So our YouTube channel is youtube.com/@GameSetMatchKY. So it's almost the same, but you have to type in that @ if you're doing it on the computer or in a browser. You know, youtube.com/GameSetMatchKY. Well, thanks again to our sponsors, Vision Cabinet Source and family medical centers. If you want to get in on the sponsorship game, send an email to info@gamesetmatchky.com. I want to give a couple of shout outs, Chad. Bo O'Brien, longtime tournament director in Elizabethtown, longtime CKTS tournament director, an icon in tennis, a legend in tennis in Elizabethtown, has been going through some health issues lately. The good news is he is on the mend. He is back at home. He's getting a little bit better every day. We just wanted to say hi to Bo and tell you we love you and we wish you well, and we definitely want to see you make it back out on the courts very soon.
Absolutely. Wish you the best, Bo.
And then once again, good luck to all of our players and coaches that are in the midst of the regional tournament, about to head into the KHSAA state tournament. I want to wish all of you the best of luck, and again, I wish you could all win. So,
yeah, I mean, I was just while I was listening, but not necessarily paying attention, I was just seeing the 5th region. They've already completed theirs. I think they're doing their team event this week. So I was looking to see who won between Central Hardin and E-Town and all those folks. So I was so they've, teams or regions had a choice of when they did the individual versus team tournament, and so the timeline's a little bit different for each region.
Yeah, I noticed KHSAA gives some flexibility on that, because Kentucky's a big state, and there's going to be different weather in different places, and there's different numbers of courts in different places, and you may not be able to. Some people could probably do that tournament in 2 days. Some might need 4 days or 5. I understand that. So, but they got to get it wrapped up and make it to state tournament, though, right?
Everything has to be done by Wednesday, I believe.
It's got to be done by then somehow. What happens if there's a place that's just flooded and it keeps raining and it doesn't stop? I mean, what do they do? I've never heard of that happening, but I'm sure it could happen.
I mean, we have indoor courts now, so
well, I know that you do.
It's not something that we could not deal with, but I mean, in the past, it's been pretty close. So I guess maybe they could delay doing a draw. I mean, they do release the draw usually on Friday before Memorial Day, and everybody travels there Tuesday. So there's a little bit of wiggle room in an emergency. There's not a lot.
Well,
hopefully we have good weather. Hopefully we have good weather.
Well,
last weekend was a tough one. It ended up being better than they expected, but it looked pretty dire there for Friday and Saturday for sure.
Well, I hope the state tournament weather is great, and I'm planning on trying to come up and check out some of it. I say that every year, and I never make it up there since I haven't made it there since I coached. But I hope to make it up there and check out some of the matches. And
we're probably going long on time here, but I mean,
we're good.
What year? When you coached, were they doing it in Berea? My first year, when I was an assistant at Greenwood, the girls were at Berea, the boys were at UK for the first 2 rounds, and then I think they eventually got everything moved to Lexington, and that's the way it's been. And we're headed back to Berea and Richmond. I mean, it's going to be rough. The boys are in Lexington at UK because they alternate those. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, girls doubles is at Berea and girls singles is at EKU. It's going to be very challenging for
somebody like you that coaches both boys and girls teams.
I mean, I have an assistant, that we're normally going to be split, and now you're splitting at multiple sites for the gender. It's going to be a real challenge. I hope they can
45 minutes apart there. I
hope they can find something going forward. This is not a good solution, and I hope they can come up with a better win than what they eventually had to settle for.
Well, something to think about for sure. And
we've got a lot of courts in Bowling Green,
Yeah. Well, you were asking me what it was like. I retired from coaching in 2006, and the regions were different then. So, like, now they're more aligned with basketball.
Yeah.
Correct? Okay, they weren't really like that back in my day. I sound really old. Back in my day. And so we like our most of our sports teams, like baseball and basketball, were in the 12th region. Tennis was called Region 9 for me in Russell County. And we played schools more towards the north and east. So, and it was at the regional tournament was in Richmond at EKU for the first part of my career. And then by the end, before I retired, it was in Berea. The state tournament was in Lexington. And as far as I know, that was the only location of the state tournament then. And of course, it was the traditional tournament. There wasn't a team versus team. And I know that's at a different time now anyway. But I don't remember how they worked it out, to answer your question. But it was all in Lexington as far as I remember.
Did you have girls and boys go?
Not from our school, just boys.
So there's because in 2008 is when I started, and the girls were at Berea. And then I'm trying to think what it was like in 2009.
But in Lexington, they used courts all around town. They didn't just use UK. I think
for years we were at Shillito, and Shillito's in pretty rough shape for anybody.
Is that right?
Anybody who played in the USTA adult state tournaments knows that Shillito's in rough shape, and they are converting some to pickleball.
Foie gras.
Top seed is apparently not an option for the state tournament anymore, nor is it an option for USTA tournaments anymore. So what? Is
that something scandalous we want to get into? I mean, what?
I don't think we want to get into it. No,
I don't know the story there.
I don't know that there's. I've heard some things, but I don't know that there's any concrete answers. I think it's just the new management at Top Seed doesn't want the USTA or the KHSAA at their
way
facility.
To shoot themselves in the foot.
They are hosting the region tournament, though. I did see that. But obviously you're talking about a lot more people and a bigger impact on your facility. But boy, it's an awfully nice venue.
Yeah, it
seems to be perfect for a state tournament, especially for the high school state tournament. It's a shame that we're not able to use Top Seed anymore.
Well,
so, I mean, it's just, we're very fortunate here in Bowling Green. There are some other communities that are blessed with nice and abundant tennis courts. Lexington and Louisville aren't necessarily in that boat, from a public court perspective. Shots fired. It's the truth. I mean, people in Louisville know it, and people in Lexington know it. And it's a real challenge for the state right now to make sure we have adequate courts for the type of events that we traditionally have had.
Well, that may mean more and more events are going to move to Bowling Green.
Maybe
right backyard.
Maybe so, I wouldn't fight that.
Yeah, not too far from my backyard either, so that wouldn't bother me. It's the closest major set of facilities to me, even though it's an hour and 15 minutes away. Still, that's not too bad. I was over there yesterday. So
where were you?
All right. I was in town with my son.
You have family here too, right?
I do have family there, but we were in town for a lesson, and wanted to come and catch a little bit of the regional tournament. It just didn't work out. We had to be back for something else, so it didn't work out yesterday. But maybe I'll see you at the state tournament. But
maybe. I'll be there. I know that.
I know you'll be there. You're always there. You're always there. Because you're such a genius coach.
No, just have great athletes, great players.
Oh, it's Johnny's and Joe's, not X's and O's.
It's definitely Johnny's and Joe's. Yeah.
Well, good. Well, I'll see you soon. I hope so. And until then, Hawkeye says we are out. Until next time.
Are you sure?
I'm Chris. Well,
in the spirit of high school tennis, that's somebody calls the ball out. Are you sure? Are you sure?
Oh yeah, that's the Are you sure?
I've
said it myself. You sure? Are you sure? Yeah. Well, I don't miss that. I don't miss that controversy. I really don't. Well, until next time, I'm Chris Godby with Chad Young, and this has been Game Set Match Kentucky. Do you hear like a whistling noise?
I do not.
It's my headset. It's I'm using a different headset today. It's a Shure Bluetooth headset. I got so tired of having a wire running down my back.
Yeah.
Now it's just a little wire clipped to my collar, and I don't use the left side earpiece. I'll edit all this out, by the way. Anyway, but I hear like a little, just like a little slight. I don't know. There's a little bit of noise. It's no big deal. I just wondered if you heard it too. So
No,
I'm glad that you don't. Okay.